Aunties, those 5 years in Chicago were amongst the busiest and happiest of my life.
And from Chicago, we go to South Bend, Indiana.
They wouldn't want to hear about our experience in Indiana.
Well, you've lived quite the interesting life, I'm sure, Jonathan, but we really shouldn't have let you talk so late.
My meeting Dr. Einstein in London, I might say, completely changed the course of my life. You remember I'd been in South Africa, the diamond business, then Amsterdam, the diamond market. I wanted to go back to South Africa, and Dr. Einstein made it possible for me.
A good job, Johnny. When we take off the bandages, his new face looks so different the nurse had to introduce me.
I love that face. I still carry a picture of it with me.
Well, it does look more like you, but I still wouldn't have recognized you.
I think we'll go back to that face, Doctor.
Yeah, it's safe now.
Well, I'm sure the two of you need to get to wherever you're going.
My dear aunties, I'm so full of that delicious dinner, I'm unable to move a muscle.
Yeah, it's nice here.
After all, it's getting very late and...
Found it.
What did you find, Teddy?
My life story. My biography. Here's the picture I was telling you about, General. The both of us. President Roosevelt and General Goethals at Culebra Cut. There's me, and there's you.
My, how I've changed.
Well, you see, this picture hasn't been taken yet. We haven't started work at the cut. We're still digging locks. And now we go to Panama and inspect a new lock.
Oh, no, Teddy, not to Panama.
We go some other time. Panama's a long way off.
Nonsense. It's just down in the cellar.
The cellar?
we let him dig the Panama Canal in the cellar.
General Goethals, as President of the United States, Chief and Commander of the Army and Navy, and the man who gave you this job, I demand that you accompany me to the inspection of the new lock.
Teddy, I think it's time you went to bed.
I beg your pardon? Who are you?
I'm Woodrow Wilson. Go to bed.
No, you're not Wilson, but your face is familiar. Someone I'll meet later. Ah, yes, on my hunting trip to Africa. You look like someone I might meet in the jungle.
It's your brother, Jonathan.
He's had his face changed, dear.
So that's it? A nature faker.
Perhaps you should go to bed. I'm sure Jonathan and his friend need to get back to their hotel room.
General Goethals, inspect the canal.
All right, Mr. President, we go to Panama.
Bully, bully. Follow me, General. It's down south, you know.
Well, bon voyage.
Aunt Abby, I must correct your misapprehension. You spoke of a hotel. We have no hotel. We came directly here.
Well, there's a very nice little hotel just 3 blocks down.
Aunt Martha, this is my home.
Well, Jonathan, you can't stay here. We need our rooms.
You need them?
Well, yes, for our lodgers.
Are there lodgers in this house?
Well, not just now, but we plan to have some.
Then my old room is still free.
But there's no room for Dr. Einstein.
He'll share the room with me.
No, Jonathan, I'm afraid you can't stay here.
Dr. Einstein and I need a place to sleep. You remembered this afternoon that as a boy I could be disagreeable. It wouldn't be very pleasant for any of us if...
Perhaps we should let them stay overnight.
Well, just overnight, Jonathan.
Now that's settled. Now if you'll kindly get my room ready.
It only needs airing out.
We keep it ready to show our lodgers. I'm sure you and Dr. Einstein will find it comfortable.
You have a most distinguished guest in Dr. Einstein. I'm afraid you don't appreciate his skill, but you will. In a few weeks, you'll see me looking like a very different Jonathan.
He can't operate on you here.
Once Dr. Einstein and I get organized, when we resume practice. Oh, I forgot to tell you, we're turning Grandfather's laboratory into an operating room. We expect to be quite busy.
No, we will not let you turn this house into a hospital.
A hospital? Heavens no. It would be a beauty parlor.
Hey, Johnny, down in the cellar.
Doctor, my dear aunts have invited us to live with them.
Oh, you fixed it?
Well, you're just staying overnight.
Please get our rooms ready immediately.
Well, for tonight.
Hey, Johnny, when I go down in the cellar, what do you think I find?
What?
The Panama Canal.
The Panama Canal.
It just fits, Mr. Spinalso. It's a whole teddy dog, 6 feet long and 4 feet wide.
Down there.
You'd think they knew we were bringing Mr. Spinalso along. That's hospitality.
Rather a good joke on my aunts. They're living in a house with a body buried in the cellar.
How do we get him in?
Yes, we can't just walk him in through the door. We'll bring the car up between the house and the cemetery. Then, when they've gone to bed, we'll bring Mr. Spinalzo in through the window.
Bed. Just to think we've got a bed tonight.
Oh, take it easy, Doctor. Remember, you're operating tomorrow. And this time, you'd better be sober.
I fix you up beautiful.
And if you don't,
Jonathan, your room is ready.
then you two can go to bed. We're bringing the car up behind the house.
Well, it's all right where it is until morning.
I don't want to leave it in the street. That might be against the law.
Abby, what are we going to do?
Well, we're not going to let them stay in this house for more than one night, that's for sure. Oh, what would the neighbors think? People coming in here with one face and leaving with another.
Abby, what are we going to do about Mr. Hoskins?
Oh, Mr. Hoskins! Well, he's been so patient. Can't be very comfortable in there for him. I'll have Teddy bring him down to Panama right away.
Abby, I will not invite Jonathan to the services.
Oh, no. No, we'll wait until after they've gone to bed, and then we'll come down to hold the services.
General Goethals was very pleased. He says the canal is just the right size.
Oh, Teddy, there's been another yellow fever victim.
Dear me, this will be a shock to the general.
Then we mustn't tell him about it.
But it's his department.
No, we mustn't tell him. It would just spoil his visit.
I'm sorry, Aunt Abby, that's out of my hands. Army regulations, you know.
No, Teddy, it must be kept a secret.
Yes.
A state secret?
Yes, a state secret.
You have my word for it. Cross my heart, hope to die. Let's see then. How are we going to keep it a secret?
Well, you go back down into the cellar, and when I turn out the lights, when it's all dark, you come up and take the poor man down to Panama.
You may announce the president will say a few words. Where is the poor devil?
He's in the window seat.
Oh, it seems to be spreading. We've never had the yellow fever there before.
Martha, when Jonathan and Dr. Einstein come back, let's see if we can get them to go to bed right away.
Yes, then by the time they're asleep, we'll be dressed and ready for the funeral. Abby, I've never seen Mr. Hoskins.
Oh, that's right. You were out. Well, you just come on over and take a good look at him. You know, he really is quite good looking, considering he's a Methodist.
We're bringing the luggage through here.
Oh, Jonathan, your room is ready. It's just up the stairs.
I'm afraid we don't keep Brooklyn hours, but you two run along to bed.
Well, I'm sure the two of you are very tired from your trip, and we don't go to bed this early.
Well, you should. It's time I came home and take care of you.
We weren't planning to go until...
Aunt Martha, did you hear me say go to bed? The instruments can go to the laboratory in the morning. Now then, we're all going to bed.
I'll just wait down here, and I'll turn out the lights.
Another flight, Doctor. Run along, Aunt Martha. All right, Aunt Abby.
I'll just turn out the lights.
Now, Aunt Abby, turn out the lights.
Papa loves mambo, Mama loves mambo. Look at him sway with it, getting so gay with it, shouting ole with it, wow. Papa loves mambo,
Papa loves mambo,
Mama loves mambo,
Mama loves mambo.
Papa does great with it, swings like a gate with it, he loses weight with it, now he goes to, she goes fro, he goes fast,
All right, Johnny.
she goes.
I'll open the window, you go around and hand him through.
No, he's much too heavy for me. You go around and push, I stay here and pull. Then together, we bring him down to Panama.
All right. I'll go around outside the house and take a look around. When I tap on the glass, you open the window.
All right. Ah! Dummkopf, who left this there? Johnny? Johnny? Ah! Here we go. Ready? Alley-oop. Oh, Johnny, oh, you lost the legs, man. That was me, Johnny. I slept.
Be more careful.
Well, his shoe came off. Quick, somebody has to go. Go! I manage here. Go quick.
Miss Abby? Miss Martha? Miss Abby? Miss Martha? Who is it? Is that you, Teddy? Who are you?
Who are you?
I'm Elaine Harper. I live next door.
And what are you doing here?
I came to see Miss Abby and Miss Martha.
Turn on the lights, Doctor. You chose rather an untimely moment for a social call.
I think you'd better explain what you're doing here.
We happen to live here.
You don't live here. I'm in this house every day and I've never seen you before. Where are Miss Abby and Miss Martha? What have you done to them?
Perhaps we'd better introduce ourselves. This is Dr. Einstein,
Dr. Einstein?
a surgeon of great distinction and something of a magician.
And I suppose you're going to tell me you're Boris
I'm
Har-
Jonathan Brewster.
Oh. You're Jonathan.
I see you've heard of me.
Just this afternoon for the first time.
And what did they say about me?
Nothing. Just that there was another brother named Jonathan. That's all that was said. Well, that explains everything. Now that I know who you are, I'll be running along back home. If you'll kindly unlock the door.
That explains everything? Just what did you mean by that? Why did you come here at this time of night?
I thought I saw someone prowling around the house. I suppose that was you.
You thought you saw someone prowling around the house?
Yes. Weren't you outside? Isn't that your car?
You saw someone at the car?
Yes.
What else did you see?
Just someone going around the side of the house to the car.
What else did you see?
Nothing, that was all. That's why I came over here. I wanted to tell Miss Abby to call the police, but since that was you and that's your car, I don't need to bother Miss Abby. I'll be running along.
I think you're lying.
I think she tells the truth. We let her go, yeah?
I think she's lying. Running around outside this time of night? I think she's dangerous. I think she shouldn't be allowed around loose.
Take your hands off me.
Doctor?
It's going to be a private funeral.
Teddy! Teddy! Tell these men who I am!
That's my daughter, Alice. George!
Teddy!
Doctor!
Teddy!
The handkerchief! The cellar!
Oh, what's the matter? What's going on down there? What's the matter? What happened?
We caught a burglar, a sneak thief. Go back to your rooms.
Oh, then we'll call the police.
No, we've called the police. Go back to your rooms. Do you hear me?
Mortimer! Where have you been?
Oh, to the Norbay's Theater. Oh, and I should have known better. By God, I'm still there.
It's your brother, Jonathan, and this is Dr. Einstein.
Well, I know this isn't a nightmare, but what is it?
I've come back home, Mortimer.
Who did you say this was again?
It's your brother, Jonathan. He's had his face changed. Dr. Einstein did the operation.
Jonathan, you always were a horror, but do you have to look like one?
Easy, Johnny, easy.
Mortimer, have you forgotten the things I used to do to you when we were boys? Remember the time you were tied to the bedpost? The needles under your fingernails?
By God, it is, Jonathan. Yes, I remember. I remember you being the most vicious, venomous form of animal life I ever knew.
Well, don't you two start quarreling just the minute you've seen each other.
Oh, there'll be no fighting here, Aunt Abby. Jonathan, you're not wanted. Get out!
Dr. Einstein and I have been invited to stay.
Not in this house.
Just for tonight.
Well, I don't want him anywhere near me.
But we did invite them, and it wouldn't be very nice to go back on our word.
All right, for tonight. But first thing in the morning, out. Where are they sleeping?
We put them in Jonathan's old room.
That's my old room. I'm sleeping in there. I'm here to stay.
Oh, Mortimer, I'm so glad.
Yeah, Johnny, we sleep down here.
You bet your life you sleep down here.
You sleep on the chair, and I will sleep on the window seat.
Ooh, the window seat! Well, the window seat's good enough for me. I can sleep on the window seat.
You know, Johnny, all this argument, it makes me think of Mr. Spinalso.
Mr. Spinalso! Well, now, Mortimer, it really isn't necessary for us to inconvenience you like this. We'll sleep down here.
Your sudden consideration for me is unconvincing.
Come along, we get our things out of the room, yeah?
Don't bother, Doctor.
You know, Doctor, I seem to have lost track of Mr. Spinalso.
Who's this Mr. Spinalso?
Just a friend of ours Johnny's been looking for.
Well, don't you bring anyone else into this house.
Don't worry, Johnny, I tell you all about it while we get our things.
Oh, Mortimer, you don't have to sleep down here. I can go in with Martha and you can take my room.
No trouble at all, Aunt Abby. We'll be packed in just a few minutes. And then you can have our room, Mortimer.
Oh, I told you, you're wasting your time. I'm sleeping down here.
Mortimer,
Oh, what's the matter with you, dear?
I've almost been killed!
Oh, you've almost been... Abby, Martha!
No, it was Jonathan.
He mistook her for a sneak thief.
No, it was more than that. He's some kind of maniac, Mortimer. I'm afraid of him.
Oh, darling, you're trembling. Have you got any smelling salts?
Oh, no, but do you think some hot tea or coffee?
Oh, coffee. And make some for me, too. Oh, and some sandwiches. I haven't had any dinner yet.
I'll make something for the both of you.
Martha, we can leave our hats down here now.
Were you two going somewhere? Well, do you know what time it is? It's almost after 12. 12! Oh, Elaine, you've got to go home.
What? Oh, no, you wanted some sandwiches for the both of you. It won't take more than a minute.
Why, don't you remember? You wanted to celebrate your engagement. That's what we'll do. I'll make a nice dinner for the both of you. And I'll open a bottle of wine.
All right. No wine!
Mortimer, what is going on inside this house?
What do you mean, what's going on inside this house?
You were supposed to take me to dinner and the theater. You called it off. You asked me to marry you. I said yes, and you want to throw me out of the house. Now your brother tries to strangle me, and you want to chase me home? Now listen, Mr. Brewster. Before I go home, I need to know where I stand. Do you love me?
Oh, of course I love you, darling. I love you so much, I can't marry you.
Have you suddenly gone crazy?
No, but it's just a matter of time. You see, insanity runs in my family. Well, it practically gallops.
Wait a minute, you have to do better than that.
Oh, no, dear, there's a strange taint in the Brewster blood. Well, if you really knew my family, it's what you'd expect if Orson Welles wrote Oklahoma.
Just because Teddy's a little...
No, it goes way back to the first Brewster, the one who came over on the Mayflower.
Mortimer, that's ancient history.
Oh, no, dear, the whole family. Here, take my grandfather, for example. He used to try his patent medicines out on dead people to be sure it wouldn't kill them.
He wasn't so crazy. He made $1 million.
Oh, and then there's Jonathan. Well, you just said he was a maniac. He tried to kill you.
But he's your brother, not you. I'm in love with you.
Oh, and then there's Teddy. Well, you know Teddy. He thinks he's Roosevelt. No, dear, no Brewster should marry. I realize that now. If I'd have met my father in time, I would have stopped him.
But all this doesn't mean you're crazy. Look at your aunts. They're Brewsters, aren't they? And the sanest, sweetest people I know.
Well, even they have their peculiarities.
But what lovely peculiarities. Kindness, generosity, human sympathy.
Oh, there's another one!
Oh, Mortimer, there are plenty of others. You can't tell me a thing about your aunt.
Oh, and I'm not going to. Look, something's come up. You've got to go home.
Up from where? We're here alone together.
Oh, look, I know I'm acting rationally, but just chalk it up to the fact that I'm a mad Brewster.
If you think you're going to get out of this by saying you're insane, you're crazy. Maybe you're not going to marry me, but I'm going to marry you. I love you, you dope!
Well, if you love me, would you get the hell out of here?
Well, at least take me home, won't you? I'm afraid.
Afraid of a little walk through the cemetery.
Mortimer, can I have a kiss goodnight?
Of course, dear. All right. You go home. I'll call you up tomorrow.
You critic!
Aunt Abby, Aunt Martha, come in here.
I'll be there in a minute, dear.
No, come in here now.
Oh, yes, dear. Oh, well, where's Elaine?
I thought you promised me you wouldn't let anyone else into this house.
Well, Jonathan just
Oh,
walked
I don't mean Jonathan.
in. Dr. Einstein
I
was
don't mean
with...
Dr. Einstein either. Who's that in the window seat?
We told you, it's Mr. Hoskins.
Well, that's not Mr. Hoskins. Well,
Well, who could that be?
are you trying to tell me you've never seen this man before?
Well, I certainly am. Well, this is a fine how do you do. It's getting so everybody thinks they can just walk into this house.
Oh, Aunt Abby, don't try and get out of this. That's another one of your gentlemen.
Mortimer, how can you say such a thing? That man's an imposter, and if he thinks he can just come in here and be buried in our cellar, well then, he is mistaken.
Aunt Abby, you admitted to me that you put Mr. Hoskins into the window seat.
Well, yes, I did.
Well, that man couldn't have just gotten the idea from him. Where is Mr. Hoskins?
He must have gone down to Panama.
Oh, so you buried him.
Oh, not yet. He's just down there waiting for the services. Oh, but we haven't had any time, what with Jonathan in the house. Oh, Mortimer, we've always wanted to hold a double funeral, but I will not read services over a total stranger.
A stranger? Aunt Abby, you admitted to me that there are 12 men down in the cellar, and you poisoned them.
Well, yes, I did, but Mortimer, you wouldn't think to say I was lying. Martha!
Oh, Mortimer, I'd like to have a word with you.
Well, a word's about all you'll have time for, Jonathan. I've decided that you and your doctor friend have got to get out of here just as quickly as possible.
I'm glad you recognize the fact that you and I can't live under the same roof, but you've reached the wrong solution. Take your suitcase and get out!
Jonathan, you're beginning to bore me. You've played your one-night stand in Brooklyn, now get out!
My dear brother, just because you've graduated from the back fence to typewriter, don't think you've grown up. I'm staying and you're leaving, and I mean now!
Oh, if you think I can be frightened, if you think there's anything that I fear...
I've lived a strange life, Mortimer, but it's taught me one thing, to be afraid of nothing!
It's in the window seat.
Now,
Aunt Abby!
Jonathan, let Aunt Martha see what's in the window seat. Aunt Abby, I owe you an apology, and I've got some good news for you. Jonathan and Dr. Einstein are leaving, and they're taking their cold companion with them. Jonathan, you're my brother. You're a Brewster. I'm going to give you the chance to take the evidence with you and get out. You can't ask for more than that. All right, you've given me no choice. I've got to call for the police.
Don't reach for that telephone. Are you still giving me orders after seeing what's happened to Mr. Spinalzo?
Spinalzo?
I knew he was a foreigner.
Remember what happened to Mr. Spinalzo can happen to you, too.
Oh.
Hello, Aunt Abby.
Oh, what can we do for you, Officer O'Hara?
Well, I saw your lights on and thought there might be sickness in the house. Oh, you got company. I'm sorry I disturbed ya.
Oh, no. Come in.
Oh, yes, come in.
Come right in, officer. Have you met my nephew, Mortimer?
Pleased to meet you.
And this is our other nephew, Jonathan.
Pleased to make your acquaintance. Well, it must be nice having your nephews visiting. Or are they staying with you for a bit?
I'm staying. My brother Jonathan was just leaving.
Oh, I've met you here before, haven't I?
Oh, I'm afraid not. Jonathan hasn't been home in a few years.
Your face looks familiar to me. Maybe I seen a picture of you around here somewheres.
I don't think so.
Yes, Jonathan, I'd hurry if I were you. Your things are all packed anyways, aren't they?
Well, you'll be wanting to say your goodbyes. I'll be running along.
Oh, no. I'd like to have you stick around until my brother goes.
I just dropped in to make sure everything was all right.
Oh, well, we're about to have some coffee in a minute. Won't you join us?
Oh, I forgot the coffee.
And I'll make some more sandwiches. I ought to know your appetite by this time, officer.
Oh, I'm due to ring in. I better be going.
Oh, you can have a cup of coffee with us? Come on, sit down.
Say, are you sure there aren't any photographs of your brother around here somewhere?
I don't think so.
He certainly reminds me of somebody.
Well, maybe he reminds you of someone you've seen in the movies.
Oh, I never go to the movies. Oh, I hate 'em. My mother says the movies is a bastard art.
Oh, yes, it's full of them. Your mother said that?
Yep, my mother was an actress. A stage actress. Maybe you heard of her. Peaches Latour?
Yes, that name sounds familiar. Maybe I've seen it on a program. What was she in?
Well, her big hit was Mutt and Jeff. Played it for 3 years. I was born on tour. 3rd season.
Oh, you were?
Yep, Orpheum Theater, Minneapolis. I was born backstage at the end of the 2nd act, and Mother made the finale.
Well, what a trooper. There must be a good story in your mother. Say, I write about the theater.
You do? Say, you're not Mortimer Brewster, the dramatic critic?
Yes.
I'm certainly glad to meet you. You know, we work in the same line of business.
We do?
Yep, I'm a playwright. Oh, this being on the police force is just temporary.
Well, how long have you been on the force?
12 years. I'm collecting material for a play.
Oh, I bet it's a honey.
Well, it ought to be, with all this drama I see being a cop. Mr. Brewster, you've got no idea what goes on in Brooklyn.
Oh, I think I have.
Say, what time you got?
10 after 1.
Gee, I better be ringing in.
Oh, no, Officer O'Hara. Now, about that play of yours, I may just be able to help you.
You would? Say, it was fate me walking in here tonight. Look, I'll tell you the plot. It all begins in 1920s Brooklyn, and this crime is on...
You're going then, are you? Good. You haven't much time, you know.
Well, everything's just about ready. Oh, were you leaving, Jonathan? Well, goodbye. Goodbye, Dr. Einstein. Well, doesn't this case belong to you?
Yes, Jonathan, you can't go without taking all of your things. Officer O'Hara, it was nice meeting you. We'll meet again sometime and talk about your play.
I'm not leaving now, Mr. Brewster.
Why not?
Well, you just offered to help me with my play. You and me are gonna write me play together.
Oh, no, I can't do that, Officer O'Hara. I'm not a creative writer.
Oh, do the Creighton. You just put words to it.
Oh, but O'Hara...
Oh, no, sir, Mr. Brewster. I'm not leaving this house till I tell you the plot.
Well, in that case, Mortimer, we'll be running along.
Oh, don't you try that. You've got to take all of your things. Officer O'Hara, my brother was just going. If you would...
I can wait. I've been waiting 12 years.
Sorry, I took so long.
Oh, don't bring those in here. Officer O'Hara, would you care to join us for a bite to eat in the kitchen?
The kitchen? Oh, Jonathan's leaving.
Oh, that's nice. Come along, officer.
Are you sure you don't mind eating in the kitchen, Miss O'Hara?
And where else?
Oh. Well, goodbye, Jonathan. It was nice to see you again.
Yes, Jonathan. I'm glad you came back to Brooklyn, because it gives me the chance to throw you out. And the first one to go is your boyfriend, Mr. Spinalza.
We can talk in here.
Oh, coming right out.
I might have known you'd grow up to write a play with a policewoman.
Get going now, all three of you.
Doctor, this affair between my brother and me has got to be settled.
Now, Johnny, your brother gives us a chance to get away. What more could we ask?
You don't understand. This goes back a good many years.
Now, Johnny, let's get going.
We're not going. We're going to sleep right here tonight.
With a cup in the kitchen and Mr. Spinalzo in the window seat?
That's all he's got on us. We'll take Mr. Spinalzo down and dump him in the bay and come right back here. Then if he tries to interfere...
Now, Johnny...
Doctor, you know when I make up my mind.
Yeah, when you make up your mind, you lose your head. Brooklyn ain't a good place for you.
Doctor!
Okay, we got to stick together. Someday we get stuck together. If we're coming back here, do we got to take these with us?
No, leave them here. Hide them in the cellar. Move fast. Mr. Spinalzo can go out the same way he came in.
Hey, Johnny, come quick.
What's the matter?
You know that hole down in the cellar?
Yes.
Well, there's an ace in the hole. Come on, I show you.
Jonathan. Jonathan!
Yes, Mortimer?
Where have you two been? I thought I told you to get out!
You're not going.
Oh, you're not? Oh, you think I'm not serious about this? Well, do you want Officer O'Hara to know what's in the window seat?
We're staying here.
Well, this gets rid of you and Officer O'Hara at the same time. Officer O'Hara, come in here!
If you tell O'Hara what's in the window seat, we'll tell her what's down in the cellar.
The cellar?
There's an elderly gentleman down there who seems to be very dead.
What were you two doing down in the cellar?
What's he doing down in the cellar?
Oh, no thanks, ma'am. They were fine. I've had plenty.
Now, what are you going to say to O'Hara?
Look, Mr. Brewster, your aunts want to hear it too. Shall I get them in here and tell you the plot?
Oh, no, you've got to ring in.
Oh, the hell with ringing in. I'll get your aunts in here.
Oh, no, not in front of all these people. How about we meet up somewhere else, somewhere more private?
How about the back room at Kelly's?
Perfect.
Why don't you two go down in the cellar?
The cellar? Oh, that's all right with me. Is this the cellar?
No! We'll go to Kelly's, but you're going to ring in on the way.
Oh, all right. That'll only take me a minute.
I'll ditch this gal and be back in 5 minutes. I expect to find you gone. Wait for me.
We'll wait for him, Doctor. I've waited a good many years for a chance like this.
We got him right where we want him. Did he look guilty?
Take the bags up to our room, Doctor.
On. Oh, we thought we heard somebody leave.
Just Mortimer, and he'll be back in a few minutes. Is there any food left in the kitchen? I think Dr. Einstein and I would enjoy a bite.
Oh, but you won't have time.
No, if you're still here when Mortimer gets back, he won't like it.
He'll like it. He's gotta like it.
Get something for us to eat while we bury Mr. Spinalzo in the cellar.
Oh, no! No, you can't bury him in our cellar. No, you've got to take him with you.
There's a friend of Mortimer's down there waiting for him.
Friend of Mortimer's?
He and Mr. Spinalzo will get along fine together. They're both dead.
Oh, they must mean Mr. Hoskins.
Mr. Hoskins?
You know about what's down there?
Well, of course we do. And he's no friend of Mortimer's. He's one of our gentlemen.
Your gentleman?
And we will not have a stranger buried in our cellar.
Besides, there's no room for Mr. Spinalzo. The cellar's crowded already.
Crowded? With what?
Well, there are 12 graves down there now.
12 graves?
Which leaves very little room, and we're going to need it.
You mean you and Aunt Martha have murdered?
Murdered? Well, certainly not. It's one of our charities.
Why, what we've been doing is a mercy.
So you take your Mr. Spinalzo and get him out of here.
You've been doing all that here in this house and buried them down there?
Johnny, we have been chased all over the world. Your aunts stay here in Brooklyn and do just as good as you do.
What?
You've got 12 and they've got 12.
I've got 13.
No, Johnny, 12.
13. There's Mr. Spinalzo, then the first one in London, 2 in Johannesburg, 1 in Sydney, 1 in Melbourne, 2 in San Francisco, 1 in Phoenix, Arizona.
Phoenix?
The filling station. 3 in Chicago and the 1 in South Bend. That makes 13.
But you can't count the one in South Bend. He died of pneumonia.
He wouldn't have gotten pneumonia if I hadn't shot him.
No, Chani, he died of pneumonia. He don't count.
He counts with me, I say 13.
No, Chani, they've got 12 and you've got 12. The old ladies are just as good as you are.
Oh, they are they? Well, that's easily taken care of. All I need is one more. That's all. Just one more.
Well, here I am.
I'll be seeing you in all the old familiar places that this heart of mine embraces all day through.
You stop doing that! This is our house and this is our cellar and you can't do that!
Ladies, please, go back upstairs where you belong.
Abby, Martha, go upstairs.
There's no use in doing what you're doing because it will just have to be undone.
I'm telling you, we won't have it, so you better stop it!
You wait. You'll see. You'll see whose house this is.
I'm warning you, you better stop it! Ugh. Hasn't Mortimer come back yet?
No.
It's a terrible thing to do, to bury a good Methodist with a foreigner.
I will not have our cellar desecrated.
And we promised Mr. Hoskins a full Christian funeral. Where do you suppose Mortimer went?
I don't know, but it must be important because he told Jonathan, you just wait. I'll settle this.
Well, he can't very well settle it while he's out. And that's all we want settled. What's going on down there?
All right, now where's Teddy?
Mortimer, where have you been?
I've been over to Dr. Gilchrist. I've got his signature on Teddy's commitment papers.
What is wrong with you?
Running around getting papers signed at a time like this.
Do you know what your brother is doing in our cellar?
He's putting Mr. Hoskins and Mr. Spinalzo in together.
Oh, he is he? Well, let him. Is Teddy up in his room?
Teddy won't be any help.
Once Teddy signs these, I can tackle Jonathan.
Well, what did they have to do with this?
Well, you had to go and tell Jonathan about the 12 graves. If I can make Teddy responsible for those, I can protect you, don't you see?
No, I don't see. And we pay taxes to have the police protect us.
I'll be back down in a minute.
Come, Martha, we're going for the police.
All right. Oh, no, you can't go for the police.
Why not?
Oh, because if you tell the police about Mr. Spinalzo, they'll find Mr. Hoskins, and that might make them curious, and they'll dig up your other 12 gentlemen.
Oh, Mortimer. We know the police better than you do. Then I don't think they would pry into our private affairs if we asked them not to.
But if they found your 12 gentlemen, they'd have to report to headquarters.
Oh, I'm not so sure they'd bother. They'd have to make out an awfully long report, and if there's one thing a policeman hates to do, it's work.
Well, you can't count on that, and besides, it might leak out. You could never expect a judge and a jury to understand.
Oh, Judge Coleman would.
Oh, we know him very well.
He comes to church just before election to pray.
And he says he's coming to tea someday. He promised.
Oh, Abby, we really must speak to him about that. His wife died a few years ago, and it's left him so lonely.
Well, come along, Martha.
No, I won't let you. You can't go for the police, and you can't have Judge Coleman to tea.
Well, if you're not going to do something about Mr. Spinalzo, we are.
I am going to do something. You see, we may have to call the police in later, but if we do, I want to be ready for them.
You get Jonathan out of this house.
And Mr. Spinalzo, too.
Will you just let me do this my own way? I've got to see Teddy.
Mortimer, if they're not out of this house by morning, we're going for the police.
They'll be out. I promise you that. Now,
Well,
go to bed. And for God's sakes, get out of those clothes. You look like Judith Anderson.
now isn't that a relief?
Yes, if Mortimer's really going to do something at last, it just means Jonathan's going to a lot of unnecessary trouble. We'd better tell him.
It's all done. Did I hear, Mortimer?
Well, it's all going to have to be undone. You're going to be out of this house by morning. Mortimer's promised.
Oh, we are we? Well, in that case, you and Aunt Martha can go to bed and have a pleasant night's sleep.
Yes, come, Abby.
Good night, aunties.
Not good night, Jonathan. Goodbye. By the time we get up tomorrow, you won't be here. Mortimer's promise.
And he has a way of doing it, too.
Then Mortimer is back?
Oh, yes. He's just up here talking to Teddy.
Goodbye, Jonathan.
Goodbye, Jonathan.
Perhaps you'd better say goodbye to Mortimer.
Oh, well, you'll see Mortimer.
Yes, I'll see Mortimer.
Phew, that's all fixed up, smooth like a lake. Nobody'd ever know they were down there. That bed feels good already. 48 hours we didn't sleep. Let's go up, yeah?
You're forgetting, Doctor.
What?
My brother Mortimer.
Johnny, tonight? We do that tomorrow or the next day.
No, tonight! Now!
Johnny, I'm weak, and tomorrow I got to operate.
Yes, you're operating tomorrow, Doctor, but tonight we take care of Mortimer.
Johnny, please, we go up to bed, yeah?
Doctor, look at me! You can see it's going to be done, can't you?
I can see, Johnny. I know that look.
It's a little too late for us to dissolve our partnership.
Okay, we do it. But the quick way, the quick twist, like in London.
No, Doctor. I think this calls for something special. I think perhaps the Melbourne method.
No, not that. 2 hours, and then it was all over. What? The fellow in London was just as dead as the fellow in Melbourne.
We had to work too fast in London. There was no aesthetic satisfaction to it. But in Melbourne, there was something to remember.
Remember? I wish I didn't. No, Johnny, I won't do it. Not Melbourne. Not me.
Yes, Doctor, where are your instruments?
I won't do it, Johnny. I won't do it.
Get your instruments.
No, Johnny.
Where are they? Oh, yes. You hid them in the cellar. Where?
I won't tell you.
I'll find them, Doctor.
Don't do that, Mr. President.
I cannot sign any proclamation without consulting the cabinet first.
Oh, but this must be a secret proclamation.
A secret proclamation? How unusual.
Yes, Japan mustn't know until it's signed.
Japan? I'll sign it right away. You have my word for it. I can let the cabinet know later.
All right, let's go sign it.
You wait here. A secret proclamation has to be signed in secret.
But at once, Mr. President.
I'll have to put on my signing clothes.
You go now, yeah?
No, Dr. Einstein. I'm waiting for something. Something very important.
Please, you go now.
Dr. Einstein, look, I have nothing against you personally. I mean, you seem like a nice fellow. So take my advice and get out of this house just as quickly as possible.
Trouble, yeah. You get out now.
I'm warning you.
I'm warning you. Get away quick.
Things are gonna start popping around here any minute.
Listen, Johnny's in a bad mood. When he's like this, he's a madman. Things happen. Terrible things.
Oh, Jonathan doesn't worry me now.
Himmel, don't those plays you see teach you anything?
About what?
Well, at least people in plays act like they got sense. That's more than you do.
You think people who are in plays act intelligently, do you? Well, I wish you had to sit through some of the ones I had to sit through. Take the little opus I saw tonight, for instance. In the play, there's this guy. He's supposed to be bright. He's in a house full of murderers. He's even been warned to get out of the house. But does he go? No, he stays right there. Now, I ask you, Doctor, is that something that an intelligent person would do?
You're asking me?
He didn't even have the sense enough to be frightened, to be on guard. For instance, the murderer invites him to sit down.
You mean, won't you sit down?
Oh, believe it or not, that one was in there too.
And what did he do?
Well, he sat down. Now I mind you, this fella's supposed to be bright. And he's just sitting there, waiting to be trussed up. And what do you think they used to tie him up with?
What?
The curtain cord.
Well, why not? A good idea. Very convenient.
Oh, a little too convenient. Ugh. When are the playwrights going to start using some imagination? The curtain cord.
He didn't see him get it?
See him? He sat there, right with his back turned to him. Oh, and that's the stuff I have to suffer through night after night. And they say the critics are killing the theater. It's the playwrights. Well, so, There he sits, the big dope, just waiting to be trussed up and gagged. Hey, what are you doing?
You're right about that fella. He wasn't very bright.
Now, Mortimer, if you don't mind, we'll finish telling the story. Mortimer, I've been away for 20 years, but not once in all that time, my dear brother, were you out of my mind. In Melbourne one night, I dreamt of you. When I landed in San Francisco, I felt a strange satisfaction. Once more, I was in the same country with you. Now, Doctor, we get to work.
Please, Johnny, for me, the quick way.
Doctor, this must really be an artistic achievement. After all, we're performing before a very distinguished critic.
Johnny!
Doctor!
Okay, let's get it over with. But first, I gotta have a drink.
Doctor, get a hold of yourself.
Gotta have a drink. I cannot do this without a drink. When we walked in here this afternoon, there was wine, remember? Ach, Himmel, where did she put that? Look, Johnny, drinks. That's all there is. I split it with you. We both need a drink.
Doctor, where are your manners? Yes, Mortimer, after all this time, I now realize it was you who brought me back to Brooklyn. Doctor, to my dear dead brother.
Ah, God!
Oh, damn that idiot! He goes next, that's all. He goes next!
No, not Teddy. That is where I stop. Not Teddy.
We get to Teddy later.
We don't get to Teddy at all.
Now, Doctor, we have to work fast.
Yeah, the quick way, yeah.
Yes, Doctor, the quick way.
The Colonel's gotta quit blowing that horn.
Don't worry, officer, we're taking the bugle away from him.
There's gonna be hell to pay in the morning. We promised the neighbors he wouldn't do that anymore.
It won't happen again.
Oh, I'd better speak to him myself. Hey, you stood me up tonight. I waited an hour at Kelly's for you. What happened to him?
He was explaining the play he saw tonight. That is what happened to the fella in the play.
Did that happen in the play you saw tonight? Gee, they practically stole that from the second half of my play. You see, in the second half, right before the... Oh, I'd better begin at the beginning. It all starts in my mother's dressing room where I was born. Only I ain't born yet, and... No, you've got to hear the plot. So, me mother's making up, see, when a man with a black mustache walks through the door. He turns to me mother and he says, "Miss Latour, will you marry me?" He doesn't know she's pregnant.
It's the drink that you don't pour. Now when you take one sip, you won't need any more. As small as a beetle, or big as a whale. Atomic cocktail. Falls a splash all around the place. When you see it coming, just grab your suitcase. It'll send you through the sky like air mail. Atomic cocktail.
The woman is lying across the table in her lingerie. The man is standing over her with a hatchet. I'm tied up, just like you are. The place is an inferno of flames. It's on fire. When all of a sudden, through the window, in comes Mayor LaGuardia. Hey, remember who paid for that? Go easy on it.
Well, I'm listening, ain't I?
Well, what do you think of her?
Well, it put Johnny to sleep.
If he ain't got no more interest, he don't get a drink. All right, it's 3 days later. I'm under charges. That's because someone stole me badge. So, I'm walking my beat on Staten Island, 46th precinct, when a guy I'm following, it turns out, is really following me. Don't let anybody in. So I figure I'll outsmart him. There's a vacant house on the corner. I goes in.
It's cops.
I stands there in the dark, and I see the door handle turn.
Johnny, it's cops, Johnny, cops.
I brace myself against the wall, and I pull my guns, and I says, "Come in." Hello, officers.
What the hell is going on here?
Hey, Pat. What do you know? This is Mortimer Brewster. He's helping me with my play. I was just telling him the story.
Did you have to time up to make him listen?
Joe, you better report back into the station. The whole force is out looking for you.
Did they send you here for me?
We didn't know you were here.
We came to warn the old ladies there's hell to pay. The colonel blew that bugle again in the middle of the night.
From the way the neighbors have been calling in about it, you'd have thought the Germans had dropped a bomb on Flatbush Avenue.
The lieutenant's on the warpath. She says the colonel's got to be put away someplace.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Gee, Mr. Brewster, I gotta get away. So I'll just run through the third act. Quick.
You get away from me.
Say, do you know what time it is? It's after 8 o'clock in the morning.
It is. Gee, Mr. Brewster, them first two acts run a little long, but I don't see anything we can leave out.
Oh, you can leave it all out.
Hey, who the hell is this guy?
That's my brother.
Oh, the one that ran away, so he came back.
Yes, he's home.
This is Brophy. Give me Mac. I'd better let them know we found you, Joe. Mac, tell the lieutenant to call off the big manhunt. We got him, in the Brewster house. Do you want us to bring him in? Oh, all right. We'll hold him right here. The lieutenant's on her way over.
So I've been turned in, eh? All right, you've got me. Then I suppose you and that stool pigeon brother of mine will split the reward?
Reward?
Now it's my turn to do some turning in. You think my aunts are sweet, charming old ladies, don't you? Well, there are 13 bodies buried in their cellar.
What the hell are you talking about?
Teddy! Teddy! Teddy!
You better watch what you're saying about your aunts. They happen to be friends of ours.
I'll show you. I'll prove it to you. You come to the cellar with me.
Wait a minute.
13 bodies. I'll show you where they're buried.
Oh, yeah?
You don't want to come to the cellar with me?
Go down in the cellar with him, Ange.
Not so sure I want to be down in the cellar with him. Look at that puss. He looks like Boris Karloff. Hey! What the hell?
What do you think you're doing?
Get him up! What do you know about that?
Come in.
What the hell are you three doing here? I told you I was going to handle this.
Well, ma'am, we were just about to...
What happened? Did he put up a fight?
This ain't the guy that blows the bugle. It's his brother. He tried to kill Klein.
All I said was he looks like Boris Karloff.
Oh, he does.
We kind of think he's wanted somewhere.
Oh, you kind of think he's wanted somewhere? If you guys don't look at the circulars we hang up at the station, at least you could read True Detective. Certainly he's wanted. In Indiana, escaped from prison for the criminally insane. He's a lifer. For God's sakes, that's how he was described. He looked like Karloff.
Was there a reward mentioned?
Yeah, and I'm claiming it.
He was trying to get us down in the cellar.
He said there was 13 bodies buried down there.
13 bodies buried in the cellar? And that didn't tip you off he came from a nut house?
I always thought he talked kind of crazy.
Oh, it's Shakespeare. And where have you been all night? And you needn't bother to tell me?
I've been right here, writing a play with Mortimer Brewster.
Yeah? Well, you're going to have plenty of time to write that play of yours. You're suspended. Get back and report in.
Say, mind if I stop by the station to use the typewriter?
No, get out of here! Would you two take this guy somewhere else and bring him to? See what you can find out about his accomplice. He's wanted too. No wonder Brooklyn's in the shape it is, with the police force full of flatheads like you, falling for that kind of story. 13 bodies buried in the cellar.
But there are 13 bodies in the cellar.
Who are you?
I'm President Roosevelt.
What the hell is this?
He's the fellow that blows the bugle.
Good morning, Colonel.
Well, Colonel, you've blown your last bugle.
Dear me, another yellow fever victim.
What?
All the bodies in the cellar are yellow fever victims.
No, Colonel, this is a spy we caught in the White House.
Would you get this guy out of here?
If there's any questioning of spies, that's my department.
You keep out of this.
You're forgetting, as president, I'm also head of the Secret Service.
Oh, good morning, Captain. I'm Mortimer Brewster.
Are you sure?
Yes. I'm just here to talk to you about my brother, Teddy. He's the one who blew the bugle.
We ain't going to talk about him. He's got to be put away.
Oh, I quite agree with you. In fact, I've got the papers right here. I've had Dr. Gilchrist, our family physician, sign, and Teddy's signed them, and I've signed them as well as next of kin.
Where's he going?
Happydale.
All right, I don't care where he goes, as long as he goes.
Oh, he's going all right. And I want you to know that everything that happens around here, Teddy is responsible for. Now, about those 13 bodies in the cellar.
Yeah, those 13 bodies buried down in the cellar. It ain't enough that the neighbors are all afraid of him and his blowing of that bugle. But could you imagine if that cockeyed story about 13 bodies buried in a cellar got around? And now he's starting a yellow fever scare? Cute, ain't it?
13 bodies in the cellar. Or do you think anyone would believe that? I mean...
You just don't know. Some people are dumb enough. You don't know what to believe sometimes. About a year ago, a crazy guy starts a murder rumor over in Greenpoint. And I had to dig up half an acre lot just to prove that.
Oh, will you excuse me a minute?
Good morning, Mortimer.
Oh, good morning, dear.
This is Mr. Witherspoon. He's here to meet Teddy.
To meet Teddy?
Mr. Witherspoon's the superintendent of Happydale.
Oh, yes. Well, come right in. Superintendent, this is Captain...
Lieutenant Rooney. I'm glad you're here, Super, because you're taking him with you today.
Today? I didn't know
Not
that.
today.
Oh, look, Elaine, I've got a lot of things to attend to, so you run along home. I'll call you up.
Nuts!
I had no idea it was this immediate.
The papers are signed. He's going along with you today.
You men will find I'm no mollycoddle. When the President of the United States is treated like this, what's this country coming to?
There's your man, Super.
Just a minute. Mr. President, I've got some good news for you. Your term of office is over.
Is this March the 4th?
Practically.
Let's see. Oh, now I'll go on my hunting trip to Africa. Well, I must get started immediately. Is he trying to move into the White House before I've left?
Who, Teddy?
Taft.
That's not Mr. Taft, Teddy. That's Mr. Witherspoon. He's the... He'll be your guide in Africa.
Bully, bully. When the safari comes, tell them to wait. Aunt Abby, Aunt Martha, I'm going to Africa. Isn't this wonderful? George!
Good morning, darlings.
Oh, we have company.
Oh, yes. This is Lieutenant Rooney.
Oh, well, how do you do, Lieutenant? My, you don't look like the fuss budget the policemen say you are.
Oh. You know why she's here. Teddy blew his bugle again last night.
Oh, yes, we're going to speak to him about that.
It's a little more serious than that, Ms. Brewster.
And this is Mr. Witherspoon. He's the superintendent of Happydale.
Well, how do you do, Mr. Witherspoon?
You've come to meet with Teddy?
He's come to take him.
Aunties, the police want Teddy to go there today.
Oh, no.
Why, that's not until after we're gone.
I'm sorry, Miss Brewster, but it has to be done. The papers are signed. He's going along with the superintendent.
But we won't permit it. Oh, we promise we'll take his bugle away from him.
We won't be separated from Teddy.
I'm sorry, ladies, but the law's the law. He's committed himself. He goes.
Well, if he's going, we're going too.
Yes, you'll just have to take us with him.
Well, why not?
Well, that's sweet of them to want to, but it's impossible, you see. We can't take sane people at Happydale.
Oh, Mr. Witherspoon, if you'd let us go and live with Teddy, we'll see that Happydale is on our will and for a very generous amount.
Well, the Lord knows we could use the money, but I'm afraid I just
Now, ladies, let's be sensible about this. For instance, I'm here wasting my morning when I have serious work to do. You know, there's still murders to be solved in Brooklyn.
Yes. Well, there are.
It ain't only his bugle blowing and the neighbors all afraid of him, but it would just get worse sooner or later, and we'd be put to the trouble of digging up your cellar.
Our cellar?
Yeah, your nephew's been telling around that there's 13 bodies buried down there.
Oh, but there are 13 bodies in the cellar.
If that's why you think Teddy has to go away, you come down with us and we'll show you.
Well, there is one, Mr. Spinozzo, who doesn't belong here and who will have to leave. But the other 12 are our gentlemen.
I don't think she wants to go down in the cellar with you. I mean, she was just telling me the other year you had to dig up a whole half-acre lot, weren't you?
That's right.
Oh, but you wouldn't have to dig here. All of our graves are marked, and we put flowers on them every Sunday.
Flowers? Superintendent, don't you think you could find a room for these fine ladies?
Well,
Well, just come on over and I'll show you to the graves.
I'll take your word for it, lady. How about it, Super?
Well, they'd have to be committed.
Well, Teddy committed himself. Can't they commit themselves? Can't they sign the papers?
Why, certainly.
Oh, if we can go with Teddy, we'll sign the papers. Where are they?
Oh, yes, where are they?
He's coming around, Lieutenant.
Oh, good morning, Miss Klein.
Good morning, Miss Klein. Are you here too?
Yeah, Brophy and me've got your other nephew out in the kitchen.
All right, sign him up, Superintendent. I want to get this all cleaned up. 13 bodies.
If you'll sign right here.
And you, here, Aunt Abby.
You know, I'm really looking forward to going. The neighborhood here has changed so.
Just think, a front lawn again.
We're overlooking something.
What?
We're going to need the signature of a doctor.
Oh, Dr. Einstein. Won't you come right over here and sign some papers for us?
Please, I must.
No. Come right over here, sign these papers. You know, at one time last night, I thought the doctor was going to operate on me. All right, here, doctor.
Were you leaving, Doctor?
I think I must go.
Aren't you going to wait for Jonathan?
I don't think we are going to the same place.
Oh, well, hello, Elaine. It's nice to see you. Stick around.
Don't worry, I'm going to.
Hello, Mac. It's Rooney. We got that guy that's wanted in Indiana. Now, there's a description of his accomplice. It's over on my desk. Would you grab that and read it off to me? Yeah, about 36 years old, 190 pounds, 6 feet tall, blue eyes, speaks in a German accent, poses as a doctor. Thanks, Mac.
It's all right, Lieutenant. The doctor here has just completed the signatures.
Thanks, Doc. You're doing Brooklyn a real good service.
Mr. Brewster, if you'll sign as next of kin.
Oh, yes, of course. Right here?
That's fine.
All right. That makes everything complete. Everything legal.
Oh, yes.
Well, you're safe now, aunties.
When do you think you'll be ready to start?
Mr. Witherspoon, why don't you go upstairs and tell Teddy just what he can take along with him?
Upstairs?
Here. I'll show you.
No, Mortimer. You stay here. We'd like to speak with you for a moment. Yes, Mr. Witherspoon, just up the stairs and to the left.
Well, Mortimer, now that we're going, this house really is yours.
We want you to live here now.
Oh, no, Aunt Abby. This house is too full of memories.
But you'll need a home when you and Elaine are married.
Oh, but that's very indefinite, darlings.
It's nothing of the kind. We're going to be married right away.
Mortimer, there is something we're quite worried about.
Oh, what's the matter? You're going to love it at Happy Day.
Oh, yes, we're very excited about the whole thing. That's just it. We don't want anything to go wrong.
Will they investigate those signatures?
Oh, no, they're not going to investigate Dr. Einstein's signature.
It's not his signature we're worried about, dear. It's yours.
You see, you signed as next of kin.
Yes, of course. Why not?
Well, dear, it's something we never really wanted to tell you, but you're a man now, and it's something Elaine should know, too. Well, you're not really a Brewster.
You see, your mother came to us as a cook, and 3 months later you were born. Oh, but she was such a lovely woman, and a good cook, too, and we really didn't want to lose her. So Brother married her.
I'm not really a Brewster.
Oh, well, don't feel badly about it, dear.
And this doesn't change anything for Elaine.
Elaine, did you hear that? Do you know what this means? I'm a bastard!
Well, now I really should get started on breakfast.
Mortimer's coming home with me. Father's gone to Philadelphia, and we're going to have breakfast together.
Oh, yes. Well, I've had quite the night. I could use a cup of coffee.
Well, I should think you'd want to get to bed.
Oh, I do.
Wait a moment, Mr. Witherspoon. Take these with you.
We don't need a wagon. My car's out front.
Oh, are you going, Jonathan?
Yes, he's going back to Indiana. There's some people there that want to take care of him for the rest of his life. Come on.
Well, it's good to know that you have someplace to go, Jonathan.
We're leaving, too.
Yes, we're going to Happydale.
Then this house is seeing the last of the Brewsters.
Oh, not unless Mortimer wants to live here.
I have a suggestion to make. Why don't you turn this property over to the church?
Well, we never thought of that.
After all, it should be part of the cemetery.
All right, let's get going. I'm a busy woman.
Goodbye, aunties. Well, I can't better my record now, but neither can you. At least I have that satisfaction. The score stands even, 12-12.
Jonathan always was a mean boy. He never could stand to see anyone get ahead of him.
I do wish that we could show him that he's really not so smart. Mr. Witherspoon, does your family live with you at Happydale?
I have no family.
Oh, well, I suppose you consider everybody at Happydale your family.
Well, I'm afraid you don't quite understand. You see, as head of the institution, I have to keep quite aloof.
Well, that must make it very lonely for you.
Indeed, but my duty is my duty.
Well, Martha, if Mr. Witherspoon won't join us for breakfast, I think the least we can do is offer him a glass of our elderberry wine.
We make it ourselves.
Elderberry wine? Why, yes. At Happydale, a relationship will be much more formal. But here, you don't see much elderberry wine nowadays. I thought I'd had my last glass of it.
Oh, no.
Here it is.
I'm feeling mighty lonesome, haven't slept a wink.